Many thanks for staying with us. We the People special Republic Day broadcast continues here on News 9. With me on the broadcast is, of course, Commodore Shrikant B. Kasnoor, former director, Maritime Warfare Center and naval expert. Many thanks for taking out the time, Commodore, and Jai Hind to you. Squadron leader Deepthi Kala, defense expert and ex-IAF officer with us on the broadcast, somebody who led the contingent back in 2015 in the 2015 Republic Day parade. But Commodore, talking about the naval expansion very quickly here first, because in 2025, 2026, what we're learning, at least this year on, the Navy plans to induct warships or warplanes every 3 to 6 weeks. Help us understand what that induction process is going to look like. And just last year, what we saw with the INS Vaghshir, what we saw with the INS Surat, with our stealth frigates, the Himgiri, Nilgiri. Talk to us about those kind of inductions, the kind of strength, the Atmanirbharta, the indigenous strength that they bring in to the naval fold.
Absolutely. One of the things that viewers must know is that Indian Navy probably is right there at the foremost as far as Atmanirbharta and making in India is concerned. In fact, this journey began in 1960 when we embraced
Hmm.
the principle of self-reliance and indigenization. So we've come a long way since then. Now, the best part is that, as you brought out, we're actually bringing out a ship every 30 average of 30 to 40 days. I mean, last year we brought about as many as 10 or 12 ships were inducted. So we are inducting ships at massive scale, speed and magnitude. That is one. And please remember that all of these are being built in India, and most importantly, all of them are designed in India. Now that's incredible. That's huge, because design is the core element of any aspect of building, which means that the intellectual property rights stay with you. And please remember also that these are state of the art. They compare just as well as any with the world class ships, like you brought out Vishakhapatnam class, Surat class. I mean, we are amongst the 5 or 6 countries in the world that build an indigenous aircraft carrier and an indigenous nuclear submarine. It can't get any better than that. So purely in terms of technology, purely in terms of being ahead, purely in terms of indigenization, this is huge. But what it also does is gives a fantastic fillip to medium and small industries, to a whole lot of ancillary industries in India. The third is it is a matter of huge national pride. And fourth, most important, you are not held hostage to foreign interests and foreign lobbies. We have all seen during Sindoor and earlier that as long as you're
Yeah.
depending on other countries for exports, you have a problem at key juncture. The more you start building in India, the more you start designing in India, the more self-reliant you are. And I think the Indian Navy is leading the way there. We're doing so fantastically. And from big ships, aircraft carriers, and state-of-the-art
Yeah.
destroyers to smaller ones like fast attack craft and to submarines, we're doing almost everything. So there are 50 plus ships being built in India over the next few years, and all of them are Indian designed, Indian made. Indian Navy has stopped buying ships from abroad.
Well, the landing and the takeoff process from any aircraft carrier from sea is a sight to behold, Commodore. Many thanks for explaining the viewers how we're pretty much sailing towards Atmanirbharta and at what nautical speed. Squadron leader, let's talk about the R-Day parade festivities once again. Um, Everybody's fighting for that best contingent, award. What is that pressure like, from the drill instructor? And take us through some of your earlier memories before 2015 when you were growing up. What made you join the armed forces? What was that inspiration like?
So, when we talk about the festivities, the pressure specifically, the pressure is really huge because I've been seeing, see, my father was in the army, so I've been privileged to having seen the Republic Day parade since class one, probably. Whenever we were around Delhi NCR, my father would take that effort to take us up in the morning, and I remember it would be the people are being seated by 7 a.m. with those Delhi winters. It was really difficult. And, now when I remember, I thank my stars, because I thank my parents for having put in that effort that we could, take this as our pride since childhood. So that was one of the first major milestones in my life as a child also, that this is something that I want to imbibe in my life. This is where I look forward to me becoming in future. So the seed was planted then itself, probably by class 1 or 2. So it answers both the questions. Now coming to the pressure, if you look at all the contingent, it is very, very difficult to point out anyone there, because the movements are being practiced so many times flawlessly. All the best of the best ustads are working with us, so you can imagine that when everybody is the best, who is the best? It is like that. So yes, because everybody is putting in effort, so we everyone wants to have that trophy with us, have that name with us. However, we do our best, and the pressure is huge. But then everybody, I think, for the country, does their best, and for me, in reality, everyone is the best. Now, when I was a child, I told you that the memories have been since those early times. So I was very clear that forces is something that I wanted to join and be an officer. Very clear. So much clear that while, everything I reversed engineered in my life. So my father was in the signals corps in the Indian Army. So I was very clear that I needed to be a signals officer. So I asked, that how do I become a signals officer? So somebody said, do computer engineering. I had no interest in computer engineering. I said, nothing doing. I do computer engineering to become a signals officer. So I reverse engineered my life, and by God's grace, before I could finish my engineering, I was selected in the first SSB itself, and that SSB happened to be of the Indian Air Force. And then I applied for Army also. However, as it was the last semester, I could not appear for the Army SSB because of the date were clashing with my exam and the SSB date, and I ended up joining the Indian Air Force Academy within 20 days of finishing my engineering. And that's how the journey started. Probably, then I thought to myself that, okay, if father has served the Indian Army, let me lead the Air Force contingent and let me put the pressure on my brother to join the Indian Navy. So that's the idea that I had. That's the kind of love I have. You would hardly see those things. So I'm so crazy about forces that
Yeah.
all my bags, the purse that I carry, everything has written Fauji over it. Because, now that I've left the forces, there is no way that I'm going to go back. But then I carry all those memories in those ways. And I always pray to God that in whatever number of lives I'm going to come back on this planet Earth, I want to be a Fauji only.
Well, many thanks for those personal anecdotes, Squadron Leader, and bringing us close to your family. Commodore, take a look at this. The entire tribe forces within the same family. And a lustrous legacy that you've upheld very nicely, Squadron Leader. Commodore, talking about the Navy's Republic Day tableau specifically, which is going to depict how the Navy has transformed itself from the ancient times, where it was very, very important back in the day, to now being, the importance has gone beyond the maritime borders as well. We're so technologically advanced, and that's primarily when it comes to the Indian Navy. So, talk to us about that journey as well. Of course, we're doing it at a great speed when you talk about indigenous inductions, but the technological advancements, I think something that is acquired for the armed forces, the Navy is kept, it is prioritized, it is kept in very high regard, especially when the radars, when the technology is talking about as well.
Absolutely. I think the Indian Navy tableau this year reflects a fantastic blend of antiquity and modernity. The antiquity is represented by the sailing vessel Condinia, which represents a 5th century stitch ship. And I think we must not forget that India was a great maritime nation. Our ancestors were fantastic seafarers. They established connections all over the world, the known world, which we call as the Indo-Pacific these days,
Yeah.
from as far as Rome and Greece in the west to as far as Japan and Korea in the east, with India in the center. So our ancestors were great seafarers, and India of today and the Indian Navy of today seeks to reclaim that legacy. And the INSV Kaundinya is one of them. You've got two fantastic women officers who sailed around the world on Navika Sagar Parikrama. They are there. And they represent this blend between antiquity and modernity. They sailed around the world, but recreating our ancient glory. Now, coming to the other tableaus, like I pointed out, there is the Nilgiri class ships. There are the new Leander phase. Incidentally, the earlier Leanders were
Hmm.
our first attempt at big warship building. And then, of course, there is the GSAT radar, which talks of, having presence in the skies. You are absolutely right. I think the Indian Navy is in the forefront of embracing modernity, technological modernity. And this comes about because we have invested a great deal in research and development. The Indian Navy
Yeah.
has what we
Commodore,
call
Commodore, what about artificial intelligence? There is a lot of AI integration that's also needed in the naval fold. Throw some light on that also.
No, absolutely, and the AI comes across in a whole lot and a whole book, if you would say, of various places, right from logistics and administration, where you can make working much easier, to operations. Please remember that ultimately you need to crunch decision making and fast time cycles, whereby you are able to hit the enemy before he hits you. And that is where AI comes in a huge way. Again, the Indian Navy, through its initiatives, I'll not get technical, but we have organizations like Directorate of Indigenization, VESI, the NIOT, and all of that.
Hmm,
But
hmm, hmm.
my essential point is we are embracing artificial intelligence in a big way, and this is across the spectrum from operations to administrations. And you will find that the future of warfare is going to see integration of drones, of swarms, of unmanned vehicles, of LLMs, of
Yep.
artificial intelligence, of eyes in the sky, of unmanned autonomous underwater vehicles, and a lot more. And the Indian Navy, and indeed the industry and R&D establishment as of today, are in a sort of embrace or fusion or collaboration that is unprecedented. I myself am seeing, though I have been out of the Navy since last 3 years, the kind of civil military fusion that is happening in all these arenas of modernity and technology is huge,
Yep.
and it augurs very well for the future. I think we have brought about a paradigm shift in the way we are operating in many of these areas. I
Well,
mean, it's
Commodore,
today for
Commodore,
me.
if I can say that, you've been out of the Navy for the last 3 years, well, let me tell you, the Navy is certainly not out of you, and it shall continue to go on and strive within you, because those are, testaments of discipline and, of course, of, an ethos about a motto that is going to continue to live with you forever. We're going to slip into a quick commercial breather here. Like the Prime Minister said, he extended his heartfelt greetings to the nation and said that may this grand national festival, symbol of India's honor, pride, and glory, infuse new energy and enthusiasm into all of our lives. A quick commercial breather. Our rolling coverage continues on the other side.